favourite memory? What's your favourite memory of your father?
My favorite memory of my dad is just laying in bed with him at night, because every night he would just tell me stories until I fell asleep. I had a difficult time, leaving him at night and going to bed. So he would come and climb into the bed and just tell me stories, and a lot of it's recorded, but it was so much that all the memories aren't recorded. But so that it stands out clear in my mind, just and hanging out with him in his office and just in front of the fireplace and drawing and just the simple things.
Right.
My favorite memories are going to prayer service with my father, because he was devout Muslim, and I just it was just so peaceful, and he talked about spirituality and your soul, and it just was a nice time, just going to prayer service, just me and my dad. It's another side of him.
Up to what age did he actually live with you and your mother?
My parents got divorced when I was in 3rd grade.
Which is
Roughly. Oh gosh, what is that? 7, 8? I don't know.
No,
I can't remember.
6,
So
7.
you had
Yeah.
your young years
6, 7.
with him.
Yeah, but we saw our dad all the time. It wasn't
Yes.
over. He visited, and we visited our sisters in California, and he was very present, as you'll see in the film with the
Yeah, I've
tapes.
seen it,
You
yes.
can, so
No,
it
he seems
wasn't-
very nice
yeah.
with the kids.
yes.
Yes. Right. And how long did you have with him?
10 until I was about 10 years old,
Oh, wow.
and
That's a long time.
my parents divorced when I was 9 and a half, 10 when we finally moved out, and then he just sort of drove over almost every day to our new house and sit and have coffee with my mom and just talk and hang out with us, and
Yes.
he came over every day until he moved to Michigan, where he got married with Lonnie, and then he would fly us out there. So
Right.
yeah.
So the relationship remained close.
Oh,
for
yeah.
both of you,
Serious?
didn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Been a while back.
he made sure we knew our siblings very young. He flew them to our home in Los Angeles, because Layla and I grew up together in LA, and he would fly all of our sisters and brothers to our house there every summer, and we'd spend the summer with them. We used to look forward to it. We used to drive them crazy. May's probably the only one that didn't run from us, but our other sisters we had to chase them around. She was always loving and affectionate and like the big sister, but the twins, and Mia. We had to chase. Layla and I would just chase them around the house. We're so excited to have them there,
Oh, that's good. And the other side of it, well, I've got you. What was the most difficult to deal with living with your dad?
Hardest thing for me are maybe people I didn't like being around. I was a very observant kid, and I would just stare at people, and I knew the good from the bad, and I knew the leeches and the opportunists from the genuine. And as time went on, I could see, yep, that person was a bad guy, yep, that person was a good guy. And so just because my father loved everybody, he had people working for him that were ex-cons, you know what I'm saying? So some of the seedy people, he had great people around him, but some of them, not so much. So I would just check that out going, ooh, if I was big enough, I would whomp you in the head.
I have to tell this story. It's so funny. May's going to be shocked when telling the story. But my mother told me a story about May. I remember when she came over one summer, and she was always very protective of my dad and just, wondering. She didn't know my mother, because my mother came into my father's life when she was still married to May's mom. So May comes over for the summer, and she's probably like, 9 or 10. And my mother was in the dining room with the doors closed with another man who happened to be her gay decorator. So she says that May throws open the drawers and snaps a Polaroid picture and says, "Gotcha!"
I was wrong about that, but I was right about those things.
And my mother is reminiscing after seeing the film, telling me the story. We're laughing, and I thought,
so
"Oh, that is the
funny.
funniest thing ever." But
Okay,
it's so,
keep
it's
so
so
off of that. She only has 10 minutes. Come on.
No, but growing up with my dad, Layla would tell you, she was a lot like May. She didn't like all of the people around. I'm like my dad. I love people, very, open, just make friends quick. I didn't mind it. I loved being with him and in the center of the attention. I had no problem with that at all. But my sister, it was very hard for her because she's very private, just like my mother, and there was always people in the house. So we didn't have an empty house. There were strangers, there were friends, there were fans. He was inviting people in from different places all the time to come stay. He would return fan mail messages, call back the numbers people left, have them come over and have dinner with them. We never had a day where there were people were not in my father's office. He just loved people so much. So.
Can I ask you, Clare, as the director, there's so many years to cover and so much material. How did you choose?
Well, I thought you've got to put a stake somewhere in the ground, and so what I decided to do was to start the film with the last fight and work retrospectively backwards to how we got there, really. And so because the last fight isn't really covered, and I don't really cover the fight much in the film, it's just it was a pointer in the sand where I think this is, we're going to end the film on the last fight. So, and within that, I wanted to get to the people who really knew him, and every single person I interviewed, there's archive of them together with Ali, so they were really there at the time.
Oh, it was good. No, it gave a good picture both of the man and the fighting. I mean, obviously, I'm not into boxing, but it actually gave a rounded picture.
Well, for me, it was never really about. I mean, I didn't know anything about boxing, so it was about. The film was always going to be about Ali as a man, not just as a boxer,
Yes.
and all the different sides to him.
I think you caught that well. One of your sisters went into boxing. Have any of the other children shown sporting prowess?
I was an athlete my whole life, not professionally. I mean, I was a jock, middle school, high school, basketball, volleyball, track. I mean, my sisters were track runners, and so we have athletes in the family, but only Layla was crazy enough to box.
Layla's always been, growing up, Layla's just always been a little bit tenacious. She not when we were real young. When I hung out with my father the most, and Layla was always with my mother. So I used to be the one that always socked people in the nose and got kicked out of kindergarten, preschool. So when Layla started fighting, everyone thought, no, it must be Hana. Because, Layla was very quiet and ladylike and sweet, and I was like a tomboy with my dad all the time. But my sister, as she grew, I don't know, I think that she just...
wasn't even in sports in school.
She was watching Christy Martin one day. Christy Martin was a big fighter back, in the day, and she said, I could do that. And then she just started going to the gym. Yeah. And she kept it a secret for a long time, and she enjoyed it. She just genuinely enjoyed boxing. But, she's a woman, so people don't expect it, but they'd understand if she was a man. A lot of the times you see actors, kids going into film, so naturally... She inherited the gift, and she's good at what she does. Yeah, she just happens to be a lady.
But you can see that in that little clip of the two of you, that footage that nobody's ever seen, when she said, "Did you sleep in my bedroom? Did you sleep in my bedroom?" So she's like questioning, You can see then she's
that was Layla.
That's Layla. Hana's the one that's going, "Daddy, kissing." Hana's sort of loving, and Layla said, "Did you sleep in my room? Was it the bedroom with the dolls and all that stuff?"
That was lovely. The bit with the Yorkshire man.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Wasn't that nice?
I really liked that.
Yes.
Can I just ask one thing? Claire, have you met Ali, and has he accepted the film?
Well, I've met him when I went to for his 70th birthday party. I was out there filming, and really, I mean, Muhammad Ali was coming in amongst a lot of crowd, into the MGM foyer where there was a ring set up, a boxing ring, and the cameraman said, "Oh my God, the camera's run out of battery. Go as fast as you can and get it." And then as I was doing that, I saw Muhammad Ali coming, your dad, and everyone was singing happy birthday, and that dreadful song, We Are the Greatest, which I've always thought was cheesy. But at that time, I started singing it, and I was crying, and I became a fan. And the cameraman was, "Where's the bloody battery? Come on." And I was and on that tape, you can hear me sing happy birthday and crying and everything. So I became a real fan. And then at your wedding...
She met at my wedding. Yeah. I told my father about the film reminded him constantly that it was being made. He was excited, like, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? And he has to wait to see it just because we want to watch it with him. We try to go, he's been in Louisville, a lot to do with the Ali Center, so we weren't able to do that. But we tried to go again right before we came here, but again, he wasn't home in time. So we're going right after we get back to watch it with him. So yeah, but he was anticipating it for a long time and excited. I kept telling him, the audio recordings are going to be in it. You're going to be so excited. He's like, when's it coming out? So at my wedding, I invited Clare, of course, and brought her over to my father and said, "This is the lady making the film about you." And his eyes were just really big, staring up. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to see you too.